Hello, and thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Preeti Rao, and I am both a real estate and a mortgage broker for close to 20 years. Now, in the past few weeks, I have been talking a lot about the Landlord Tenancy Board. And as much as I focused on the important forms, there are a whole bunch of them that are available for all kinds of situations. So in the next few weeks, I'm going to cover all the forms one by one and dive into a very small intro to all of them. But before we start, you know the drill. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and please tap that bell icon. It gets me motivated to keep you up to date with everything real estate. So if you look at all the forms within the Landlord Tenancy Board, you will see that they are divided into two sections. The forms that start with the alphabet N and the other section of forms that start with the alphabet L. Now, there are some more forms, of course, but we will get into all of them also. So let's go step by step with all the forms, starting with the very first form on the list, the N4. Notice to end the tenancy early for non-payment of rent. Now, you can use this form if the tenant has not paid the rent on the date that it is due. For example, if the rental agreement requires the tenant to pay the rent on the 1st of each month, let's say the 1st of March, and the tenant does not give you the full rent payment on March 1st, the earliest day that you can give this notice is March 2nd. In order for you to give a tenant this notice, the tenant must still be living in the rental unit. If the tenant has already moved out, you can apply to the court for the money the tenant owes you. If you start to suspect that the late payment is becoming a trend, then please do not procrastinate. 1 day delay, send them the N4, because that 1 day will slowly and surely creep up to a 3-day delay, then to a week's delay, and if you let this happen, eventually it will move into non-payment of rent, and that is only going to harm you. Next in line, we have the N5. Notice to end your tenancy for interfering with others, damages, or overcrowding. You can give this notice to the tenant for the following reason. Reason 1. The tenant or the tenant's guests substantially interfere with another tenant's or your own reasonable enjoyment of the residential complex, or interfered with another lawful right, privilege, or interest of the landlord or other tenants. Reason number 2. The tenant and or the tenant's guests willfully or negligently damage the rental unit or the residential complex. If you are unsure whether you can prove it to the LTB that the damage was done willfully, you should use this form number N5. Reason number 3. The number of people living in the rental unit is more than permitted by health, safety, and property standards. Giving this notice is the first step in evicting a tenant for the above reasons. If the tenant does not stop the activities or corrects the behavior described above within 7 days of being given the N5, then starting on the 8th day, you can apply to the LTB to get the tenant evicted. Next up, we have the N6. Notice to end the tenancy for illegal acts or misrepresenting income in a rent geared to income rental unit. It sounds complicated, right? Yeah, it is. So first you need to know, what is this rent geared to income, RGI? What does it stand for? This was created to assist low to moderate income households with their housing cost. RGI provides affordable housing to eligible low income families in subsidized housings, and households pay no more than 30% of their income towards the rent. Now, this normally does not apply much to you and me who are regular landlords, but in case you are renting your unit as a subsidy or the low rent unit, then this form does apply to you. You can give this notice to the tenant for the following reasons. Reason number 1. The tenant has committed an illegal act or is carrying on illegal business at the residential complex. For example, like illegal illegal drug trafficking or possession of illegal drugs or possession of drugs for trafficking or any other illegal activities, even if the tenant has permitted someone else to do so in the unit. Reason number 2, the tenant lives in a rent geared to income housing, RGI, and has misrepresented their income or that of the family member who is living in that rental unit. You can use this form for any of those 2 reasons mentioned above to basically get them evicted. The next one is the N7 form, notice to end your tenancy for causing serious problems in the rental unit or in a residential complex. You can give this notice to a tenant for the following reasons. Reason number 1, the tenant or their guest has seriously impaired the safety of another person, and this event has actually occurred within the residential complex. Reason number 2, the tenant or their guest has willfully damaged the rental unit or the residential complex. Reason number 3, the tenant or their guest has used the rental unit or the residential complex in a manner inconsistent with its use as a residential premises, and this has caused or can be expected to cause serious damage. Reason number 4, you live in the same building as the tenant, and the tenant or their guest has substantially interfered with your reasonable enjoyment of the rental unit or your lawful rights, privileges, or interests. Now, this reason only applies if the building has 3 or fewer residential units. If you do not live in the same building as the tenant, or if the building has more than 3 residential units, you should then use the form number N5. Now, you notice the similarity between the N5 and the N7. It can be very daunting to figure out on your own as to which form to use. That is why it is imperative to speak to a licensed paralegal for proper guidance. Now, you must stay tuned as there are many more forms that I will cover in the course of these coming weeks. And if you have questions or want any kind of clarification, please do not hesitate to call me. If you still don't know who I am, then go check my rating on Google and read my client reviews. Till then, take care. And if you found value and liked this video and would like to see more content, please click on the boxes on the screen. Once again, my name is Preeti Rao. My contact information is in the description box below. Please make sure to hit like, share, subscribe, and that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to call me because I hold the key that opens the door to your dream home.